65 million lives. More civilians than soldiers killed. More cities destroyed than in every other war in history. Hello, I'm Tom Hanks. Today it's hard to imagine a world where freedom has vanished. A world ruled by tyrants. But in the 1930s, that was the world the leaders of Germany, Japan, and Italy tried to create. The struggle to defeat them became the most destructive war in all of human history. Across the face of the world, ships and planes by the thousands, and armies in the millions, fought using revolutionary new tactics and never before dreamed of weapons to smash whole nations to rubble. The war would take ordinary Americans on an unprecedented journey, a test of heroism and courage, of sacrifice and loss, to face moral choices that took our nation and the world beyond all boundaries. It is the 1930s, and America is a place far different from the nation we know today. More Americans live in small towns and on farms, many without electricity or indoor plumbing. Few married women work outside the home, and in great parts of the country, racial and ethnic discrimination is legal. The United States Army has more horses than tanks, and when stacked against the great powers of the world, the American military ranks 18th behind Romania. Our nation is still in the depths of a great economic depression that left a quarter of the workforce unemployed and sent middle-class families plunging into poverty. Farms turned to dust and factories to rust. Elsewhere in the world, dark shadows are rising. In Asia and in Europe, war is brewing. Across the Pacific, Imperial Japan, once a promising democracy, is now controlled by the military and ruled by an emperor believed to be a living god. Starved of natural resources, Japan dreams of an empire that will span the Pacific.
What Japan seeks is the establishment of a new order, which will ensure the permanent stability of East Asia. In this lies our ultimate purpose.
In 1937, Japan invades China. To the soldiers of the God Emperor, the defeated are subhuman and deserving of the darkest cruelties. In 6 weeks, more than 300,000 Chinese prisoners and civilians are massacred with vicious abandon. In Germany, Adolf Hitler and his Nazi party have swept to power. He declares the people of Aryan heritage as the world's master race and vows to build a Nazi state that will last 1,000 years. In the massive factories of the Third Reich, Hitler begins building the most terrifying war machine the world has yet to see. In Europe, Germany unleashes a merciless war of aggression called Lightning War, Blitzkrieg, first sweeping into Poland, then across Western Europe and North Africa, defeating every army in its path.
Of all the tasks which we have to face, the noblest and most sacred for mankind is that each racial species must preserve the purity of the blood which God has given it.
The Nazi goals are clear. First, to seize territory for the comfort of the master race. Then, to eliminate Jews and other ethnic groups they label life unworthy of life. Across Europe, where German armies are victorious, squads of executioners set about their duty. Great Britain is the only surviving democracy at war with the fascist nations. In preparation for an inevitable invasion, Hitler orders the terror bombing of England's major cities.
The noise that you hear is the sound of the air raid sirens. The searchlight just burst into action off in the distance.
Above the fires, the sky was red and angry, and all around below were the shadows, the dark shadows of buildings and bridges that formed the base of this dreadful masterpiece.
But the dreadful masterpiece is not complete. Hitler invades Soviet Russia, driving the Red Army back to the gates of Moscow itself. Nothing, it seems, could stand up to the relentless onslaught of the German war machine. Safe on the other side of the Atlantic, Americans gather around the radio to hear news of a war growing ever larger. Over the crackling airwaves come reports of a great alliance between Germany, Japan, and fascist Italy. Together they pledge to impose their rule on all of humanity by tyranny and terror. Still, to many Americans, the distant conflict is not our fight.
We want no war. We have no war.
As Britain and Russia grow more desperate, President Roosevelt expands the tiny American defense budget and sends ships, supplies, and weapons to the beleaguered allies.
We must be the great arsenal of democracy. For us, this is an emergency as serious as war itself.
To stop Japanese expansion into Southeast Asia, the president blocked shipments of precious American iron and oil to Japan. In a show of force, President Roosevelt orders the U.S. Pacific Fleet to leave San Diego, California, and move its forward base to Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. As December of 1941 dawns, Americans prepare for a Christmas at peace, unaware that an attack-ready Japanese fleet is already at sea, secretly advancing east across the vast Pacific toward America.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please enter the theater through the open doors on your left and right, and proceed